Hi there, it's Natalie Tackett with Care and Curate. I'm a decorative and restoration artist by trade, and I own a decorative painting company called Brushed in Bristol, Tennessee. And I started Care and Curate to try to help my clients best care for and curate the beautiful things that they have in their home. So today we're going to talk about how to remove paint from leather. And when I talk about leather, I'm referring to the type of leather that you see on the sofa behind me. It's a soft, tanned leather, so it has kind of a slick or a smooth surface. We're not talking about suede. If you are interested in a video on how to clean a suede leather surface, please comment below. So let's get started. Your secret weapon, number one, is going to be a white 100% cotton rag. I prefer a t-shirt rag, but you can also use a white terry cloth rag. You're always going to use white because you don't want there to be a dye transfer, and your only exception is going to be when perhaps you're working on a black leather surface. If you have a black 100% cotton rag, that will be helpful. So when you're dealing with wet paint, what you'll do is get your white cotton rag, and you'll want to saturate that with water. If you want to use a little bit of a mild dish soap detergent, that's also fine, but don't come at the painted surface with a bubble bath in your hand. We're really focused on having the damp rag. And the reason we're using cotton is because it absorbs. So what you'll do is, if my hand is a surface that has dripped paint on it, you're going to basically touch and dab that a little bit and move the surface of your rag around. So you're not going to continue dabbing it with the same painted surface. You're just going to dab that until it's completely gone off of the surface of the leather. You can go back with a clean damp rag and wipe the rest of that surface off, and it should be completely clean. If it is not, then wash and repeat. Okay, our second situation is if you have paint that may have dried to the touch. So it's no longer sticky, it's no longer messy, it's actually just recently dried to the touch. And if it's latex paint, you're in luck, because most of the latex paints these days have a tremendous amount of acrylic in them, and the polymers make it very easy to actually peel away from the surface of that leather. So what I like to use is a letter opener. So the letter opener that I have here does not have any serrated edges. It does have a little bit of a point on the tip, and it's super, super thin. So a good substitute for this would be maybe a butter knife, or even another knife, but you're never going to use the serrated edge. If you do, it could potentially leave those marks in the surface of your leather. So use this nice little handy dandy tool, and you're basically just going to kind of carefully scrape and lift. So I don't know if you can see what I'm doing, but you're kind of just doing a little bit of an upward motion on the surface, and what that will do is hopefully work your way around whatever the shape of the paint is, and get it to a point where it will start to pop loose. You should be able to pick that up and just peel it right off. It might take a few times to do that, but typically that's your best method. Another thing that you can do to kind of prepare that surface for using your letter opener on our blade on that surface to loosen the paint is you may want to put just a damp rag on that to just soften the surface a little bit, just enough to kind of get that letter opener or blade to start removing the edge of that paint, just so that you can peel it off. Now, the last situation is going to require a little bit of patience. Any paint that is completely dried or cured on the surface, unfortunately, is going to be a little bit of a challenge to remove. But I have found that using olive oil and a toothbrush is your best way to remove that. So what I like to do is I actually keep the olive oil close to me. I put about a quarter size in the palm of my hand. I take the toothbrush and I'm just carefully rubbing to get the olive oil into the toothbrush bristles, and then I'm going to use that same exact rubbing motion, kind of in a circular pattern, to loosen the paint on the surface of the leather. What you don't want to do is do big gouging motions or scrubbing like this. You are literally going to just start and just carefully loosen those edges. Now, what's probably going to happen, especially with the third example that I gave you with completely dry paint, you may potentially remove some of the dye from the surface of the leather just from removing that paint. You have to ask yourself, I guess the question is, would you rather have a little section where it's slightly lighter than the rest of the leather, or would you rather have a big splash of like black paint or something? Just know going in that potentially that could remove some of the dye, but there's a quick fix for that, guys. Most manufacturers have, so if it's a piece of furniture, check with that manufacturer. Or if it's, I know Coach Handbags has done this for years. They have a 2-part cleaning system, so it's a cleaner and a conditioner. Most of those 2-part systems are really great because what they do is they have a dye reactivation in them. So if you have removed a little bit of the color from the cleaning of the paint, it will actually kind of reactivate that dye and blend the area that you've cleaned in back into the surface of your piece of leather with really no problem. Sometimes you have to do it once or twice, maybe even up to 3 times. But I think that by far you're going to be happier with the results of the cleaned area than you would have been if you had left the paint visible. So if there are any other questions, please write them in the comments below. I hope this was super helpful for you. And if you can think of any questions that you may have of how to better care for the fine items in your home, I would be more than happy to do more videos on those particular topics. Feel free to DM me or contact me in either Instagram or Facebook. And if you want to follow some of the work that I do professionally, you can find me as Brushed Artist on Instagram or on Facebook. And Care and Curate has its own YouTube channel. So be a subscriber, check that out, and you'll be notified if you subscribe so that every time I post a video, you'll be able to see it. I hope you have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks so much for watching. Bye for now.